One football position, you know, Mamiko. Hey, you get to position for Africa. When your brother is releasing something and you patronizing your brother,
there is only one seat, and only one man will sit on that seat. Let us be careful what we say and who we say is going to be the governor, or be a senator, or be a member of the House of Representatives, and all of that. Let us also give respect to the office that we all occupy, that God has called us, and be careful that these things that we say, they have a way of having a ripple effect. You must have to understand that in the midst of all of this, God is still God.
Listen to Planet's 101.1 FM News at 7 a.m., 12 noon, and 6 p.m. with our news in special English at 2:30 p.m., Mondays to Fridays. Planet's Radio 101.1 FM, evolving around you.
It's the news at noon. In the news, federal government begins minimum wage review. 42 COVID-19 infections recorded as federal government rules out restrictions. Residents of Uyo, Akwa Ibom state capital, expresses happiness on extension of PVC collection date by INEC. On a foreign scene, Italia's most wanted mafia boss, Matteo Denaro, arrested in Sicily. And sports, Rennes beat Paris St-Germain 1-0 in Ligue 1. Details coming up shortly. Good afternoon and welcome to the news on Planet Radio 101.1 FM Uyo. I am Rachel David White. First in the news this afternoon, President Muhammadu Buhari will depart Abuja for Nouakchott today to receive the African Award for Strengthening Peace in the Mauritanian capital on Tuesday. According to presidential spokesman Femi Adesina, the award is for the president's leadership role in promoting peace in the continent. Adesina said the award will be presented to President Buhari by the Abu Dhabi Peace Forum, which is an assembly of leaders established in 2014 to pursue new ways to embrace inclusive citizenship, promote lasting peace, and work towards a safer and more sustainable world for everyone. Before receiving the award, the presidential aide said Buhari will participate in the program of the third forum of the African Conference for Peace, where he will deliver a speech on milestones and gains in the African peace process. The president is accompanied on the trip by Minister of Foreign Affairs Geoffrey Onyema, Minister of Defense Major General Bashir Magashi, retired, National Security Advisor Major General Mohammed Wangunu, retired, and Director General of the National Intelligence Agency, Ambassador Ahmed Abubakar. Away from that, the National Salaries Income NSIWC and Wages Commission says it has initiated a process for the review of the national minimum wage. NSIWC's head of public affairs, Emmanuel Njoku, said these in a statement in Abuja. Njoku said as part of the process to review the minimum wage, which would be due in 2024, the Commission had held a series of meetings and training towards a nationwide monitoring of the Minimum Wage Act 2019. He said the monitoring bill, due begin on January 23rd, would help ascertain the compliance level of public and private employees and organizations. According to him, the monitoring team will, among other things, inquire if employers keep adequate records of wages and conditions of service of employees. The exercise will enlighten the public and private employees and organizations on the economic benefits in adhering to the payment of the national minimum wage. The spokesman called on federal, state, and local government ministries, departments, and agencies, including government-owned enterprises, private sector, establishment, and labor unions to cooperate with the monitoring officers. In health, the federal government has insisted it will not impose COVID-19 restrictions on China despite the rising infections in the East Asia country. The coordinator and technical head of the Presidential Steering Committee on COVID-19, Dr. Mukhtar Mohammed, who stated these in an interview with newsmen in Abuja, however, said the government has raised the surveillance level in the country. China's decision to relax its strict COVID-19 rules to curb the virus and lack of transparency has been greeted with some anxiety in many countries. At least 23 countries have imposed restrictions on travelers from China amid fears of an increase in COVID-19. Data from the World Health Organization shows that China reported 24,565 new cases on January 13, 2023. And so far, there are 10,855,369 confirmed cases and 33,698 deaths. However, Mohammed said countries imposing restrictions on China are doing so without a scientific basis, as available data shows that cases are increasing worldwide. In education, the federal government, through the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation, is set to pay the withheld salaries and allowances of lecturers on the ages of the Congress of Nigerian Universities Academics, CONUA. This was contained in a memo addressed to the President, CONUA Dr. Niyi Samunu, by the Director, Integrated Personnel Payroll Information System, Office of the Accountant General of the Federation, Charles Wali. Recall that the government had withheld the salaries of Nigerian lecturers during the 8-month strike by the Academic Staff Union of Universities during the strike. The government also registered CONUA as a trade union. The president of CONUA, Dr. Niyi Samunu, in an earlier interview with newsmen, noted that members of his union did not embark on a strike and hence should not have their salaries withheld. In a memo dated January 13, 2022, the government noted that the withheld salaries will be released. Back here, Akwa Ibom State Governor Domimano has charged the political class not to exploit the diversities and differences in the country, rather to create crisis. Governor Emmanuel gave the charge while speaking at the grand finale of this year's Armed Forces Remembrance Day celebration in Uyo. Addressing members of the Nigerian Legion in Akwa Ibom State, Governor Emmanuel regretted that some of the factors that led to crisis in the nation in the past, which some of the security agents participated in and paid the supreme sacrifices, was still present. The governor urged political sectors not to exploit the differences and diversities in the country for undue political gains and, in the process, threaten the peace and unity of the nation.
All across the nation, some rhetoric that enlarge the chasm of separation and weaken the cause of our national unity are still being propagated and amplified, our diversity should form a rainbow of strength. It's being exploited for narrow political advantage, especially at this time. As we get ready to elect our new set of leaders, I urge our political class to understand that we need the country to be one indissoluble entity for our aspirations for leadership to be actualized. We must not threaten the unity of this nation for the narrow desire to be in power. If these gallant men and women pay the ultimate price for us to remain in peace and harmony, we must also pay them a corresponding price of appreciation and gratitude to ensuring that the cords of our unity remain our abiding articles of faith.
The governor called on government at various levels and corporate organizations to put measures in place to assist families of the fallen heroes. He assured the widows of the ex-servicemen of inclusion in the state government social investment programs.
The question we should ask ourselves as we gather here to observe this annual ritual is, did they pay the ultimate sacrifice in vain? Are we giving them the corresponding rewards and appreciation for the price they paid? We must redouble our efforts in showing our undying gratitude to those they left behind. We must improve the welfare of our soldiers, ensure that they live in decent environments, and guarantee a future of growth and development to their children, who oftentimes bear the brunt of the sacrifices their fathers made in the service of this nation. All across the nation, some rhetoric that enlarge the chasm of separation and weaken the cause of our national unity are still being propagated and amplified. Our diversity should form a rainbow of strength. It's being exploited for narrow political advantage, especially at this time. As we get ready to elect our new set of leaders, I urge our political class to understand that we need the country to be one.
Meanwhile, in an interview, the chairman of the Nigerian Legion in the state, retired Colonel Joseph Esu, thanked the state government for the support to members of the Legion.
As they remember us, the heroes, we are always very happy. And mostly our governor is a friend, and he has been doing everything to see that he gives us peace, give us happiness. So as it is today, we are happy. We are always taken along, take care of even our families.
Government House correspondent Jane Owa reports that high point of the event was the laying of wreath by the state governor Odomimano, some top government officials, and heads of security agencies in the state. Away from that, residents of Uyo, Akwa Ibom state capital, have expressed their happiness on the extension of date by INEC for the collection of permanent voter cards, PVC. In an interview with Planet News, some of the people appreciated INEC for the extension, added that there will be no excuse for people not getting their PVCs on time and be ready for the coming 2023 elections.
Mekom INEC namwe mane nukusen aregebo meweri po PVC mmoro yame yangwe matawang mewo ekene tito kerere kanna egebo PVC ni enge namu fibu bo iswami yaro kene meme mbok mele mbo chawang mewo aregeri bo PVC ni ejem sang ekande rumme kenama PVC ni kai kebo ya ke yangwam amori ifibu bong no wo meke anyangan awam ifibu bo reri nam iswami ro ala kene meme anyangaro kerero awo kanna fibu bo no wo ro nyeme mbok mekom INEC number mane turu senene chawto wonteni ndo wombugele ngini yufanga ado na turu senene yangwam mana ndikipo kusene do minyanga nifang yangwam amimpiwo bang na woro aminjemme.
Also, the people have advised Nigerians to make use of the extended time and get their PVCs in readiness for the 2023 general election. They appeal to Nigerians to vote via conscience in the coming elections and arm themselves with the consciousness of effecting positive change in Akwa Ibom State and Nigeria at large. According to them, the extension of the date will make it possible for people to get their PVCs ahead of the general elections.
The main monoke make about the mumbo mumbo. Jale try, na be can try now. Can say when I'm try. Just our kiroiba. Try Kagabo PVC Bugiti, the Bekana and Manatu of Udu can choose a work for Yemme.
But maybe Chawang may work at a PVC. Hey, Jim Sang Tekan, the Rumakanama PVC and Kaikabo.
Recall that INEC had previously said it would end the PVC collection on 22nd January 2023, but further extended the date to Sunday 29th January 2023. You're listening to the news on Planet Radio 101.1 FM Uyo. Let's take a breather and then bring you more stories from our foreign sports and entertainment scenes. Do stay with us.
Healthy living begins with the choices one makes. Choosing to live healthy is the first step to healthy living. Join us Sundays 1:30 to 2 p.m. for Healthway, awareness for healthy choices.
Thanks for staying with us. On a foreign scene, Italy's most wanted mafia boss Matteo Denaro has been arrested in Sicily after 30 years on the run. Denaro was reportedly detained in a private clinic in Sicily's capital, Palermo. He is alleged to be a boss of Sicily's notorious Cosa Nostra mafia. Italy's Prime Minister, Giorgia Meloni, described the development as a great victory for the state. In sports, leaders Paris Saint-Germain suffered a second successive away defeat in Ligue 1 as Rennes claimed a deserved victory. Captain Hamari Traoré scored the only goal midway, though the second half with a low finish from inside the area after good work by Adrien Truffert. Substitute Kylian Mbappe should have equalized when he raced through on goal but blazed vividly and widely over the bar. The defeat means PSG stay 3-point clear off second place Rennes, who beat Auxerre 1-0 on Saturday. On the entertainment scene, Nigerian superstar Burna Boy, Wizkid, and Davido clinched awards at the prestigious All-African Music Awards, which took place in Dakar, Senegal. Grammy Award-winning Burna Boy bagged the Best Act in Africa award at the 8th edition of the event. He also clinched the Best Album of the Year award, beating the likes of the South Africa's Kabza De Small, Cote d'Ivoire's DDB, among others. However, the Ivorian singer DDB won the Song of the Year award, while Wizkid bagged the Best Act in West Africa award. Davido clinched the Best Male Act in African Inspirational Music award. It's been the news on Planet Radio 101.1 FM Uyo, but before we go, a recap of the major stories. The National Salaries, Incomes, NSIWC and Wages Commission says it has initiated a process for the review of the national minimum wage. The federal government has insisted it will not impose COVID-19 restrictions on China despite the rising infections in the East Asia country. Residents of Uyo, Akwa Ibom State Capital, have expressed their happiness on the extension of dates by INEC for the collection of permanent voter cards, PVC. On a foreign scene, we told you that Italy's most wanted mafia boss, Matteo Denaro, has been arrested in Sicily after 30 years on the run. In sport, we reported that leaders Paris Saint-Germain suffered a second successive away defeat in Ligue 1 as Rennes claimed a deserved victory. For comment and coverage of your newsworthy event, call our newsroom on 0812 770 2940. Visit our website on